See Nature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now, in Enugu State, judiciary workers under the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, Jusun, have embarked on an indefinite strike. And this strike has shut down courts across the state. And, this has brought up a lot of questions about access to justice and the like. So today we're going to look at the Jusun strike in Enugu and the impact on the justice system. And with us this morning to discuss on this is Barrister George Nnamani Jr. He's a legal practitioner. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's start with what exactly triggered this current strike in Enugu. What are the main demands of the judiciary staff?
Money, of course. What else? Which were not really money per se, but money for their welfare, to cater for their welfare. I mean, we are not ignorant of the economic states of the country. So it's imperative that people look after themselves, especially when they are supposed to be earning it. It's now as of right that this was supposed to be earning. But due to some circumstances, you are denied those financial benefits, and then you see yourself in a position where you are helpless, yet you still have to wake up every morning and drag yourself to the work every day without the accruing benefits you're supposed to get it. So in one sense, it's a kind of opportunity for them to stake their claim for what they deserve to be getting. So that's just basically it.
Okay, so from a legal standpoint, what is the impact of this strike on the Nigeria justice system?
From a legal standpoint, I think it's necessary in the sense that the state judiciary there's a need to touch the state judiciary, in the sense that, even though it's going to hurt us as lawyers, because let me be honest with you, since we've been on break for almost a month and we'll not be going to court. So lawyers will just sit down and we are waiting, only for us to get to the end of this vacation and we head our strike. So the waiting continues. But apart from a selfish perspective, we don't like it. But from a general perspective, we find that it's actually going to cover a lot of benefits for the state judiciary and the society in general, actually. Because as a lawyer, there are so many things we see in the state judiciary that we like, haba. There are things that should be taken care of, but they can't, because who is going to do it? There's no financial backing to take care of those demands, except somehow you want to use your own money and fund the state judiciary problems. So apart from that, we as lawyers, we see that there's still lots to do. Now, take for example now, in the state high courts, the toilet facilities are there, but they're not working.
Oh, wow.
Something as simple as the toilet facility is a problem. We've had to institute an action in court. We've served them the reaction notice. So why would you have toilets and a court that is serving thousands of people every day, yet the toilet facilities are not working? So these are the things that we have been seeing that have said, no, this can't continue like this. There's a need for something to be changed, which is what the judicial staffs are now fighting for. Not just their own salary, but also the a kind of autonomy, so that the courts can have some money to run themselves and take care of their problems without having to go through any form of bureaucracy. Because as it stands, before you even get 1 naira, you write letter to the government, if they approve, you are lucky. If they don't approve, so you sit back and wait. So those kind of impediments creates, in general, a not so efficient system, which will always trickle down to the masses.
Yes. Now, this financial autonomy that you speak of is in the Constitution, I believe. Why is it that it hasn't been fully implemented in many, aside, it's not just Enugu State, I'm sure other states too are having this issue. Why has this remained a persistent issue,
Well, I think why is a persistent issue is that it's a political game that is being played. It's a political game being played because most governors don't want that kind of separation to truly happen. whereby the legislature, the judiciary, everybody's on their own for political reasons, you know, because there's this fear they have that they want to be in control. So they've always been in control, so they want to remain, they want that status quo to remain. So it's part of the reason why it's difficult for many states. Some have given, but many are still holding on, trying to suppress those arms of government to have complete control over their states. So it's still a battle that should be fought.
So you're saying it's a political game?
It's a political, yes, of course. Every other is constitutionally provided. The Supreme Court has given their order. Everything has been done. The only thing left is for the governors to implement it. Same thing with the local government autonomy too, because not just states, the judiciary, the legislature, the local governments. These are all these. So these are all the financial benefits that are being controlled by the executive. So stripping them of those financial benefits is not what they want. So that's why it keeps recurring.
So are you saying that it's in the Constitution? There's a provision concerning that.
Yes, it is. It's not
it's actually taking years. It's taking years. While other states are okay, they're enjoying. But Enugu, why is this? I want you to throw more light on that. Why is it like that in Enugu?
It's not just Enugu. There are many other states. I think there are only like 3 states that I know currently that are enjoying their own financial. I think maybe Ebonyi, Benue, and Kogi.
Okay.
I know of these 3. These are 3 states I know of. Other states, I'm not sure.
Abia too.
No, Abia is not in this.
Okay. Has there been any response from the government?
Well, from what I heard, they have been negotiating, and they are working. They are still negotiating, because what triggered all this thing was the NBA conference. When the governor, his opening remarks, he came up publicly and said he had given full autonomy to the judiciary.
Wow.
So everybody was surprised. I'm like, even the workers. I'm like, really? So from their perspective, they were like, okay, so the governor has given full judiciary autonomy, but we're not seeing the money. So where is it now going to? So they will now say, okay, it's the heads of court that are siphoning the money. That they are the ones. The heads of court said they have not given anything. So in the end, it's now the buck now goes back to the governor. So you said you've given us full, but we can't see anything.
Yes.
So what is the problem?
So which leads me to ask this question, because if something is in the Constitution, it's supposed to be that's a law that everyone should abide by, and there are consequences for not abiding to the law. So from what you're saying, are you saying that the executive arm of government is above the law?
They're not above the law. Nobody's above the law.
So
why?
Like I told you, nobody's above the law. But the problem is that we know what the law should be, but implementation is the problem. How do you force an executive to do what the law says? We are at their mercy. Except it goes down to maybe something very grievous. But when it comes to issues like money, it's difficult to enforce, except you go to court. In fact, the court is your last hope. Go from the court, there's no other place. You will not go there and tell the governor, please, you must do this. So it's that's what the essence of the separation of power and checks and balances which democracy provides for, which is why there is a problem trying to implement it, because it will bring about the proper checks and balance of different arms cautioning the other to avoid any kind of dictatorship or being power drunk. So to prevent these things from happening is why we are in this situation now. So that they can afford to do what they want to do and nobody will be held accountable.
Okay, so now we realized yesterday that the courts were shut down, no entrance, a whole lot was happening yesterday. What happens to all the court cases? What happens to the citizens that are awaiting trial, those in prisons and the likes?
Everything pauses. Everyone pauses till the problem is sorted out. That's the unfortunate circumstance we are facing now. So our only hope is that the negotiations can be done quickly, and then they reach a consensus. But of course, apart from that, there'll be no other choice than to wait. Nobody's going to try to hear any case in absentia without a judge, or without staffs working, without those bringing files, without the registrar, without those that are doing the payments and many other things. So the bailiffs, everything is an ecosystem.
Okay.
So a judge alone cannot do that. So there must be other workers. So if these workers are complaining that they have a problem, everybody will stop until we sort out what their problem is.
Right, and now public confidence in the judiciary now seems to be very shaky. And seeing now that we are having strikes even in the justice sector that is supposed to be kind of like the conscience,
right,
on the hope of the common man. Do you think that this would, how do you think it will affect or worsen the deep public distrust or cynicism about the judiciary and the justice system generally?
Well, should I be blunt?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
The truth is that regardless of regardless of the emotional sentiment behind your cause, actually nobody cares. They must look after themselves first. If you don't have trust for the justice system, then where is I going to go to? So the only thing we can do is each and every one of us to put hands together to know how we can move it, because it's the only hope we have. If you remove it, where is I going to go to? If someone travels on your right today, what are you going to do? Take laws into your hands? There's no other alternative. So you see, it's the only thing we have, and which is what we must preserve. So regardless of how you feel towards it, you must put aside your emotional sentiments and say, okay, how do we make this thing work? Because I don't have the other place I'm running to. So I know I don't trust you people, but how do we make you better so I can trust you? So that's the only perspective we can look towards of how to make it better, except they have an alternative source of justice system that they can bring up. But apart from that, we'll have to shift our emotional sentiments on how we feel and look towards how do we make this thing better? How do we make it better? So which is why this strike is imperative, because it's what is very necessary now.
Okay, what more do you think the government would do differently for this strike to be lifted? And what bodies do you think will come together for them to have an MOU? And if after a while this MOU, the agreement is not met, what happens next? What's the play?
Well, I think the heads of courts, the judiciary staff union workers, that's their executive body, the attorney general, government representatives, they will all have to meet and decide what's the problem, what do you want. Then they will state out what their grievances are. So that's what should be done, which is why I feel I think I know they are doing, not feel, I know they are doing that already. So that's what should be done. Then they will state their demands, and then it's up to the government to now decide how they will resolve the grievances and let everybody go back to work. Because there's no that way. They will remain on strike until their grievances are met, because it's actually their rights. I mean, you said the government openly said they have granted it, and yet they cannot see it. So it's like, so something must be going on. You can't just say you have given them autonomy and yet we cannot say anything, and then you just fold hands and accept. So there must be a kind of ironing out of the details to know what the problem is and how it can be sorted out once and for all, so I can go back to court. Because me myself, I'm tired of staying at home.
But then we want to believe that the Jusun wants this to be settled.
Obviously, yes. In the secular,
I want to understand, why is it that some of these people are not receptive? And you said that some of these issues are politically influenced. They are not receptive. When media houses go for interviews, we want to know the issues. We want to know how this can be sorted out. Everybody is running behind the camera. No, we don't want our faces. We don't want to show. We don't want the government to do this. We don't want sanctions. We don't want... Why? Why does this persist?
That's why I told you it's political. It's a political problem. It's not actually... It's a political problem.
But they want it to be sorted.
Yes, but... most times, many people are not courageous enough to stand and say what they feel should be said. That's one problem many people have. So there's this, let it be somebody else, so I'll just stay behind and let them sort themselves out. But I'm sure there will still be some people that can stand up and say, this is what we want, this is why we want what we want, and this is what it should be.
All right, now I'd like to get your opinion. In the short term, what do you think should be the steps that the government should take to break this deadlock? Should you, like, what ideas or what opinions do you have in the short term? Because if we leave this indefinite strike to go on, it will go on and on and on. So now, short term, before we look at the long term, what suggestions do you have?
There's no need for long term or short term. It's very simple. Allocate some money for these courts to run themselves. There's nothing else again. Just allocate, okay, every 1 month, this is what you get to run your courts and take care of every other thing that needs to be taken care of. That's all. The staff, check those that are supposed, how much they're supposed to be earning, whatever it is, and make the amendments and give it to them. This thing is not necessary. If they can just do what should be done. There's nothing like short term or long term plan. It's not a big deal. It's just the willingness of those controlling the financial system to say, okay, let us make amend. These people are saying they've not paid them for so and so amount of years. Why? Make the corrections, give them their money, adjust their salary based on the minimum wage or whatever. Okay, this money so and so for you're running your states and your courts and everything. And that's all. It's not even that the money is not there. It's just some people are not willing to do it. There's no long term or short term. Just okay, all right, we'll take care of everything. I mean, to be done.
Okay, speaking of salaries, you just made mention of salaries being paid. Constitutionally, who is responsible for ensuring that these judiciary salaries are being paid? Is it the chief judge or who?
Well, okay, based on salary, the workers, the staff that take care of the running of the courts are paid by the government, the state government. Okay. While the judges and are not paid by the federal. But the running of the courts is what they give, comes from the federal to the states. Then from the states go to the judiciary. So based on salary, the workers are paid by the state government. So which is why they are complaining, because the state government have not done what they need to be done. What needs to be done based on their own salary. But I'm not sure the judges are complaining about it. The only thing they're complaining of is how to run the court, because the money that should come from the state government to take care of things in the courts is not coming. So in the end, they're handicapped, and then things are getting dilapidated. You have problems, you can't solve them. You can't use your salary and be building a court or doing anything. You have to write letters and pray that it's even they listen to, they hear you and then approve. So the entitlement you're supposed to be getting to look after your court, you're not getting it. The staffs are saying that the money they said they have been giving them full listen, you can't see it. So on one part, in fact, the whole buck lies on the state governments to do what needs to be done.
All right. So now I'd like to know, what risks are there of legal challenges arising from prolonged non-compliance with these constitutional provisions or delays in, doing all of these things?
There's no, all the legal options have been exhausted actually, because I think this has gone up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has given that, so there's no other. It's just to implement it, which is what we come back to, of how to make an executive do what they need to do. So it's part of the problem. There's no that going to court is just preaching to the choir. They've already given their this on it, so you can't come back again and tell them to say the same thing as what they said. Yeah. So it's left for the conscience of the executive. Some governors have said, okay, give them, do their thing for them, let them go. Some are still resisting.
But what about Enugu State judiciary leadership? Has there been any response to any of this? Is anyone saying anything? The chief judge or the leaders?
I'm pretty sure they are doing something. As judges, they're not allowed to come out and discuss all these things. But I'm pretty sure they are behind the scenes. They are working and negotiating to get everything done. So hopefully, before this week runs out, it should be over.
All right. So on a larger scale, we're seeing that so many strikes, agitations has been going on from different states in different times, and to some extent it will die down. Some has been met, the agreement has been made, but then what is the role of the Chief Justice of Nigeria in all of this? Has she said anything? What has been her response so far in all of this, in all these years?
The Chief Justice is not within her jurisdiction now. This is out of her jurisdiction. Because what we're talking, the separation, the federal government, state government, local government, she is in charge of the federal generally. So this is not her jurisdiction.
Has she no say in this?
No, she has no say. She has no say based on what's going on. This is state government and...
So it's just restricted to the state?
Yeah, state government. Every state to fight their battle within themselves and say, how far? What do we do? What do we go forward? The Chief Justice has no role to play in this. If it was a legal... Maybe there's something that has to do with courts, legal problem that is going on, then she can come in. But this is about state government doing what they're supposed to do or not doing it. It has nothing to do with the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
All right. Now, beyond ending this strike, what would you say are the reforms that are needed to guarantee financial autonomy, protect staff welfare? Now, not just for Jusun now, but generally, because there are a lot of strikes coming up around the same issue of staff welfare and all of that. So what systemic reforms would you say are needed to prevent the shutdown of all these important institutions in the country?
The systemic reforms you are talking about are already set in place. They already have, some states are already doing theirs. So many of them have there's already a precedent of how it should be done. It's just left for the executive to decide, okay, let's leave people to go and do your thing. So, okay, when every month, because there's always an allocation for the state government to run the state every month. So, okay, from this one, you take your own, go and take care of your side, take care of your side. The system is already in place. Everything has been put in place to take care of these things. It's just the willingness to execute that's the problem. If not, what should be done? There's already a modality of how everything should be done. Some are already doing it. So the system is not the problem. It's just the person that will initiate the listen. That's all. Nothing else.
Well, what does that now say about our democracy and our system if we are having so much issues with implementing things that are already laid down?
When it comes to democracy, that's the essence, that's the battle we are fighting now. Because implementing this system is what will bring about the proper democracy. When the executive is on his own, the judiciary is on his own, the legislature is on his own, there's a kind of, you're not owing me, I don't need you for anything. So there'll be more tendency for me to be objective and say the truth and say, okay, this is what we stand for. But when I know that at the end of the month, I have to come and meet you to come and collect so and so amount, I will now be forced to, let me calm down. I'll be forced to be more reluctant to do what I'm supposed to do. So this subservience is what they want, so that nobody can just come and make any kind of claim. But the moment the moment that separation happens, then that's when the true democracy stands up now. Because now a lot of, okay, I'm not coming to you for anything. What is the problem? There's a problem, you will discuss. And how do we get to an end? But when I know that you are the one that is going to pay me after everything, I'll have to just pretend like I didn't see anything. So that's the problem that democracy is facing.
All right. Is there any other demands that they are making apart from autonomy?
No, every other demand falls under its autonomy.
Okay.
The moment this financial autonomy is taken care of, every other problem goes away. It's just this autonomy that is bringing about so many other demands, so many problems. Because I mean, the system is large. It's not something. If there's one person only handling it, there'll be places where you will not cover, where there'll be loopholes, gaps, and some other things. So, which is the essence of this decentralization? Okay, you run this side, you run this side. In the end, the whole thing works together. When one person wants to stay and control everything, you find that some people will suffer the brunt of these gaps, or being unable to reach them, or maybe even oversight. There are so many things that can come up, which is what they are going through now. So, but with this financial autonomy, you find that it's easier. You can just tell your guy, this will have not been paid this thing. No. You say, okay, what's the problem? You sort it out. When you meet your guy tells go and that guy, then we are back to square one.
All right. Because of time, what advice would you give to citizens listening, or those families that have their families in court, in prison, awaiting trials? What would you say to them concerning this strike, and what should be their hope?
Well, what I'll say that I'm pretty sure the government, one advantage of this government we have is a government that listens. There's a kind of, you bring out a problem, they tend to listen. To an extent, they like to be held accountable to what they said. So my belief is that this thing will be sorted out quickly. Because I mean, they've already come forward. They came forward in their own volition and said it has been granted. So it's not left for them to back their words with action. So I'm pretty sure they will have to back it up with they'll back it up with an action, which will, hopefully in no time will be resolved very soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Legal practitioner, barrister George Namwani Jr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. And that is it on that conversation concerning Jusun strike in Enugu. Impact on justice system. And that is where we draw the curtain this morning, and the conversation continues. Thank you for joining us.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox. It's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.